There are countless animal shelters just like this one in Stockton, California, as well as nonprofit rescues, which are overcapacity with wonderful dogs who just need a second chance. Each shelter dog's life story is unique, but because they were not loved, they can all start out in sad, similar ways. Though not every shelter dog story ends up happily ever after, through the efforts of small bands of staff and volunteers, it is possible for there to be many happy endings, such as this story about a wonderful dog named Terrence. Terrence came to the Stockton shelter as a stray, and as you can see, had injuries to his head. Despite limited financial resources, shelter staff and medical teams do what they can to help the animals in their care. Volunteers are critical to helping the dogs through socialization efforts, obedience training, and doggy day out programs. Some volunteers even take pictures and post them on social media to help the dog's visibility. Like so many dogs, Terrence was shutting down and not doing well in the shelter, and needed coaxing just to get him out of his kennel for a walk. Sometimes the social media helps, and the dogs find homes in the area, and other times the potential adopter is many miles away. In Terrence's case, his interested adopter was over 1,200 miles away in Alberta, Canada. Terrence was not able to ride in a transport going to Canada, and his future was bleak. But a volunteer that had met Terrence, knowing what a great dog he was, and knowing that he had a chance with a new life with a potential adopter, stepped up and volunteered to transport Terrence. Terrence had no idea that in the course of the next 30 hours, he would experience 4 states, including California, Nevada, Idaho, and Montana, as well as go from living in Stockton, California to living in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. In early February, Terrence and his transport volunteer loaded up for the 1,200-mile journey. Terrence was interested to see what the car ride was all about. Our duo left the shelter at 8:45 a.m. on Friday morning from the City of Stockton's animal shelter and traveled about 1,000 miles on Friday. Despite being on the road, Terrence didn't miss a meal. During the drive, the volunteer spoke to the adopter on the phone and was convinced that Terrence was going to a loving home and that this volunteering for the drive was the right decision. After 18 hours on the road, Terrence and his driver arrived at a hotel in Butte, Montana to spend the night. The pair got comfortable for a couple of hours of sleep. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, they made their final push to the Canadian border, which would be another 4-hour drive. Though the 1,200-mile drive was long and the weather challenging, everything seemed to be going well until they got to the border. It turned out that there was some misunderstanding on the paperwork, which took a couple of hours to sort out. Through a patient and concerted effort by all involved, Terrence met his new family at 2:41 p.m. on Saturday, the 3rd of February, 2024, much to the delight of staff, volunteers, and especially Terrence and his adopters. Terrence was thrilled to meet his new dad, as well as his new grandma, and the entire family could not be happier. After everyone had a chance to meet briefly and chat and get some pictures together, it was time for Terrence to go to his new home and for his volunteer driver to return back to California. Your local municipal shelter or animal rescue would love to have your help in whatever way you can give it, whether it's to give 2 hours a week or more. Every little bit helps. Our shelters and rescues are overflowing with wonderful, deserving animals such as Terrence. So please, adopt shelter animals as opposed to going to a breeder, and encourage your family and friends to do the same. Because if we all give a little, it can lead to many more happy endings just like this one for Terrence. Thank you!